And welcome back. You notice I had to change locations. I had to basically put my computer on the charger. Um, so with the first who would win in the month, I always do my monthly who would wins plus the ones near the end of the month during the week who would wins. And for those of you who are not aware, I pick a topic and I go throughout the characters in the topic for the who would wins the monthly ones. And it's the Planeswalkers and Magic the Gathering, the card game. Again, let's see if I can get it under 20 seconds. Go. In the Magic the Gathering card game, there's a very expansive lore, world-building history. There are infinite amount of universes, planes of existence, and characters who can traverse through those planes are Planeswalkers. They're usually stronger than your average character, and they have a main focal point in most of the stories. Under 20. I feel awesome. So, we're up to the Planeswalker known as Karn. Now, Karn doesn't actually have a literal title. He's Karn the Liberated, and there is his initial card, Karn the Silver Golem. Karn is basically an artificial planeswalker. He wasn't, because planeswalkers are born with a spark that ignites and allows them to planeswalk. It's like 1 in a million or something like that. But you have to be a living being. So demons and angels, like divine individuals, they can't technically count unless, depending on the plane you're on, they are or a biological being. Artifact creatures, which Karn is, basically robots and machines, can't count usually. Like elementals, beings created from the earth, they can't count because they're just magical beings that were created through magical and not organic means. However, Karn was imbued with a spark, which allowed him to travel. Actually, I think initially it was actually that he wasn't imbued with a spark. You could travel through planes through some machines back in the day, back in early Magic. Those were lost, and he got stuck on a plane. He was stuck on a plane known as Mirrodin, which became Phyrexia. He was corrupted by Phyrexia, who are kind of like the Borg. They assimilate and make you and corrupt you. But when Planeswalker, actually we went over him, I think it was the last time, Venser gave his spark to Karn to allow him to resurrect and be liberated, as his card said, and basically go and stop the Phyrexian hordes and all that. Now, what are Karn's capabilities? Well, it's a little ill-defined what Karn's capabilities are. He is a very big character, like big in terms of physical size. He's like a 7 or 8 foot golem. So he's got the physical strength of a robot. So he is physically powerful. He's not indestructible by any means, but he is physically powerful. It's also said he can use all 5 colors of mana. For those of you who don't know, there are 5 colors: blue, black, white, green, and red in Magic the Gathering that symbolize philosophies, abilities, things along those lines. Most characters can use 1 or 2 colors. More powerful characters can use 3. The strongest can use up to 4 and 5. Anyone who can use 5 is pretty much like near all powerful. Well, not near all powerful, but has the most potential to be powerful. Karn, though colorless by nature, not associating with any color, is capable of using any and all colors. But because of that, his powers are ill-defined. It's never fully stated what he can do. So, there is a few notes of his abilities. He's got the ability to not control time, but distort time and distort dimensional fabrics in some regard. Planar, the fabrics of planes. Kind of like interdimensional, kind of like, oh, this is where... One card particularly was a blue card that involved Karn, and it involved a temporal sundering, I think it was. Let's see, add. Oop, there we go. Temporal sundering. I'm probably spelling temporal wrong. There we go. Temporal sundering. I forgot the O. Okay, so temporal sundering is there it is. Yeah, it shows Karn. The art alone shows Karn. Karn temporal sundering, like standing there with basically standing on a plane, but it's all going through like different phases of like volcanic, like icy, night, day, evening, dusk, dawn, fire. It's all over the place exactly where what's going on exactly in the art. A quest artist's time became a spiral into chaos. Essentially, during the time spiral block, which basically meant that all the planes were starting to converge and just going to destroy each other, Karn must have been around to help. I don't know a lot about the past Magic history, admittedly, and Karn actually has a big part in the past Magic history, but Karn was definitely there when things were going down. Karn's cards, though, also imply he can exile things, basically kind of pop them out of existence if he has to. Let's see now. Karn liberated. And that's the best way I can go about going over his powers, is basically looking over like what the card is actually capable of doing. So the card itself is... Yes, I mean, he's capable of exiling cards from his... player is capable of exiling cards from their hand, which means he's capable of likely of basically removing his own memories and then implanting them somewhere, and then returning them, because basically he's capable of exiling a permanent. So basically removing something from play if he has to. But his last ability said you can restart the game, leaving in exile all non permanents exile with Karn liberated. Then put those cards in the battlefield under your control. Essentially, what the card does is when all those cards you exile from your hand with Karn's ability, his first ability, when you get to that final ability, you restart the game. You draw, you have no land, you start your life over again, but all the cards you exiled come onto the freaking battlefield. That is broken as F. Basically, that's turning back time and restarting it, but doing it on your own accord, bringing back things to help you. So Karn has the power, essentially, if he really has to restart something, to basically jumpstart and give himself an advantage. Now, that said, it could take everything he has to do so, because the loyalty and power, basically, that works as you got a certain amount of counters, a certain amount of loyalty, a certain amount you have to spend to cast abilities. If you want to do that correctly, or if you want to do that like as thoroughly as you can, you're gonna end up killing Karn doing so. Now, Karn, you could outlast that whole shtick. That's not the right word. You can continue using his ability so he'll live through that, but ultimately, if to use it the first time as quick as possible, you would end up sacrificing Karn. So there is Karn liberated. Now, Karn's second form, Scion of Urza, is nowhere near as powerful as his original form. But this does allow him a couple extra abilities that the other one didn't. You're able to reveal the cards of your deck, as it were. An opponent chooses one of them and puts that card into your hand and exiles the other with a silver counter on it. Put a card you own, and then you can put a card you own from the silver with a silver counter on it from exile into your hand. So essentially, it allows you to pretty much get to focus on information and knowledge. However, then you can also create a creature that gets +1/+1 for each artifact you control, or machine, as it were. So he's capable of creating some scions, some some minions, if you will, some powerful minions to boot. But ultimately, what his overall those are abilities that are kind of mostly just white abilities, white or blue abilities. That's basically it. He can still use green, black, and red, though. We have to assume he's capable of probably some pyromancy or earth manipulation. He's probably capable of some elemental creation of some kind or healing magic with green associated. And he's probably capable of some sort of level of corruption, thanks to like Phyrexian emmettlement with him and things along those lines. Or, life-draining ability. We gotta assume he's capable of things along those lines, but we just have never really seen him use those abilities. So who did I pick to put against him? Well, that was difficult because I had to go with a machine of some kind, some sort of machine-based character, and then I had to basically say, okay, what am I capable? Who would be a good match? Like time travel? Like the Terminator? No, Terminator would lose in a fight hands down to Karn. I'm like, well, you know what? Death Battle's doing Sigma versus Ultron. Ultron seems like a good bet. Let's go with Ultron. So Ultron, we already know Ultron. In the movies, he's created by Tony Stark and Bruce Banner. In the actual comics, he's created by Hank Pym. He's created to be a peacekeeping protocol, but it was made during a bad time Pym's life, so he ended up taking on a lot of Hank's less than savory traits, and he became one of the Avengers and one of Marvel's greatest villains. Essentially, he wants to eradicate the planet. Eradicate the planet of, flesh bags, if you will. He's usually composed of a combination of vibranium and adamantium. He has a molecular changer which allows him to move, basically makes things bendable and things along those lines, but still being durable. He's got all the physical strength of a robot, of a machine like him. Physical strength, energy blast, you name it, he basically has the tech for it. But his real claim to fame, one of his biggest and most dangerous traits is his ability to infect other machinery. And he has these Legion of Ultron drones. But that's one of his, is that he can pretty much infect anything, basically like a sentient computer virus, more or less. So he's capable of just overwhelming anything. I mean, you're hard pressed to find a system he can't corrupt, which is why the Sigma versus Ultron fight's going to be very interesting. I said it in my prediction maybe, but you can go and check it again if you want. If it comes down to who can possess the other, I might go Sigma because of the nature of his level of possession. But if it comes down to a physical brawl, I'm going Ultron. I just don't think Sigma is capable of taking him on unless he's got something that can destabilize vibranium and adamantium. So Ultron's also just very cold, callous. He's got information to just about everyone. So because he's a computer, he can pretty much do whatever he wants. So Ultron is, and I'm sure there's more I'm missing on Ultron, but that is the basic gist of Ultron. And he's got plenty of Ultron bots that he can corrupt. So for instance, Karn making his Scion token, his copy that gets stronger with every artifact you control. That won't matter in this fight because Ultron very likely could just corrupt that and be done with it. So how would this fight break down? Well, let's say because there's multiverse in the Marvel Universe all the time. Let's say that Karn or that Ultron has made it to Dominaria while Karn is on there working some things out, and he starts wreaking havoc. Karn goes to investigate and he sees Ultron's now we know Karn can talk. He can. It's described as kind of like a metallic robotic voice, but I don't know exactly how. So he'll talk, I guess, kind of similar to Ultron a little bit. It's like, stop, what are you doing? It's like, well, who's your master? It's like, Ultron has no master. I am Ultron. I am my own master, and you will bow to me, machine. And maybe Karn sends a couple Scions to take on his drones. I would imagine, though, because of the nature of the Scions, and the drones are never as durable as Ultron is, they're not made of adamantium just because of the scarcity, or vibranium because of the scarcity, not including Wakanda. But they're usually made of pretty durable stuff. I would imagine because of the nature of Karn's Scions, his minions, his little duplicates, if you will, that they would be able to take on the Ultron bots with little issue, because the more of them he has, the stronger they are. So, granted, they'll be able to fly and blast lasers and probably damage them, but I think the Ultron bots will ultimately lose. Meanwhile, Karn and Ultron are duking out. Now, maybe he tries to exile him, if you will, but Ultron's able to avoid that and charge right into Karn, trying to corrupt him. But because of the nature of machines don't work the same way in the Magic the Gathering universe as they do in real world universe. There's no circuits, there's no programming in there. It's magic. It's magic based. That's all it is. So Ultron tries to corrupt him, but he realizes I'm not capable. I can't corrupt it. What's going on here? I can't. What are you? I cannot. Your system. I sense nothing. It's like, that's because. And then Karn just delivers a gut kick, which, I mean, Ultra can't feel pain per se, but it would still catch him off guard. So, ooh, you might get up, and then Karn just grabs him and just throws him, and maybe does a fire blast, red mana, and just kind of blasts him, throws some rock and bears it. I am Karn, son of a scion of Urza, and I am here to protect this plane. I'm here to protect all planes from all threats, including you. And then Ultron goes, interesting, fascinating. You are a machine. I can tell you are a machine, but you are different, even than me, and something different than me cannot exist. I Ultron will rule all. Or you could join me. We can, and maybe because again, Ultron thinks that humanity is kind of like a disease, needs to be eradicated, but he thinks she's the machine that's something he's not even seen before. Maybe he tries to persuade Karn's like, join me and together we will rule the universe as father. It's like that kind of stuff, but it doesn't work. It's like, then you will give it, and then just charges it, then you assign your own grave. But take solace in the fact that after I destroy you, I will find out the the machinations of your being and incorporate them yourself. You will live on. And then blast Karn pretty much with a serious blast, which does injure Karn because Karn is not indestructible. And Karn's just, ugh. So now he's just he's exiling maybe a few things out of the way here in his mind or all that. And the fight's going on. Karn's now starting to get on losing side. Ultron is taking him seriously now, and he can't seem to damage Ultron no matter how hard he tries. He's using what magic he can, repairing himself the best he can, but it's nothing. No good. And then he basically just gets Karn down, stuck on the ground, just kind of broken and nearly destroyed. It's like, farewell, Karn. I was never told you I am Karn. Karn wasn't. You have fought honorably. I will give you a swift death. And just as that blast comes right there and just stops, Karn's just staring. Then everything kind of backtracks and restarts from the beginning of the fight, where now Karn basically reelects everything he's learned about Ultron from that entire fight, and then starts the fight again. It's like, I am Ultron. It's like, yeah. It's like, you're Ultron. It's like, how do you know me? It's like, you'll have to figure that out. This Karn kind of gives his best version of sarcasm to piss him off, and Ultron's just like, very well. So now he's understanding a bit more of what he's dealing with Ultron. So now he's trying to aim for like any weak points he can find, any holes in him. And he maybe just uses magic to try to maybe summon some minor constructs. Constructs would be the minions, the duplicates, if you will. Duplicates, like, from Ultron's actual body. And he realizes with magic, he can do that. So he starts to strip Ultron of some of and Karn also realizes, like, this is like metal that we don't have. We don't have vibranium or anything. I don't know what this is, but this is like pretty much indestructible. This will aid well against Bolas if I can strip him of it. And then he starts slowly, and it's hard too, even with magic. Adamantium and vibranium don't give that easy. So he just starts ripping it off slowly and slowly, bit by bit, starting to incorporate it into his own being. So now they're going toe-to-toe, and I think what he would first do is put it onto his fist, so his fists don't, like, crack under Ultron's gauntlet or anything like that, or Ultron's fist. So they crash, boom, there's a shockwave. Ultron realizes it, because he didn't immediately realize that. He felt, like, damaged, and he didn't realize how. He then realizes that Ultron incorporated the adamantium vibranium they stole off him into his own being. Karn then grabs Ultron and just starts weaving magic to start stripping the metal off him and start incorporating it into stuff. And Ultron's like, you will not get away with this. And then starts trying to corrupt him. But again, it's like, that won't work. Then it's like, why can I not? And then grabs him again and then starts just stripping him of the metal. And Ultron's like, ah! Now, Ultron's programming is still there. Remember, the machine part of him is still there. But the metal that composes the main frame of his body is now all pretty much incorporated into Karn, who is now vibranium adamantium Karn, which would be freaking awesome. Ultron basically steals the scion, like the metal off of like Karn's. They're called scions, his little duplicate guys. So he's able to at least kind of reform his body. But he's like, you cannot defeat Ultron. Ultron will live on. And then Ultron makes the biggest mistake. He tries to evacuate, and he realizes there's nowhere to go. In a Magic the Gathering setting, there's no tech or computers for him to just hide out in. That's basically one of the biggest ways Ultron has ever been able to escape, is he just dumps his mind to a different body, a different computer. He can't do that in the Magic universe. He immediately realizes that. It's like, what? It's like, I'll try to possess those machines. Magic the Gathering machines don't have minds, don't have tech, don't have basically programming. That's when Ultron immediately gets afraid. It's like, no, this cannot be. Ultron cannot be defeated. Ultron gives it, and Karn just it's like Ultron is no more, and then basically does magic to basically incinerate him or something, like get rid of him. And God, and basically just, or maybe he'd meld him to a wall or something like that, and just keep him there for all eternity. Why does Karn win this fight? Karn is first of all, Karn's far older. He's thousands of years old. He's far older than Ultron is. He's had far more years of experience and dealing with individuals. Karn, now, in a pure physical brawl initially, Ultron would wreck Karn's shit. Absolutely. And that's how it started initially. But Karn, just going off that card alone, Liberated, Karn has the ability to place things in like a safe place, and then restart something from a certain point in time, and then bring those thoughts he had back, bring those memories, bring that information he's learned back to him. So that enables him to take everything he's learned in the fight with Ultron and basically restart the fight from the beginning, now knowing what he was up against, which gives him an insane advantage. Now, that doesn't work against every opponent. Karn happens to be an opponent, though, being a machine that... Ultron happens to be an opponent that Karn can actually use his magic, because he can create little machine guys from metal. And Adamantium and Vibranium, for all their durability, are not immune to metal, and are not immune to magic in any sense of the word. They can be resistant, but they're not immune to it. And given enough time, Karn can and would, I think, would strip Ultron of all the Vibranium and Adamantium on him, which would allow him to basically and ultimately take the victory. Because after that, he's as durable as Ultron is. Now, Ultron does have his molecular destabilizer, but I think Karn would pretty quickly pick that out after he realized that Ultron was trying to mess with his own systems and biologies and whatnot. So I think he would pick that out pretty quick. Ultimately, though, Karn has the experience, and he has the ability to overtake Ultron easier, because Ultron can't corrupt basically something that doesn't have a program. That's the thing. There's no circuits or wires in Karn. It's all magic. That's it. And Ultron does not use magic, or can't go up against magic that easily. At least I don't believe he can. Not in that sense. So I do think Karn is going to win. Now, there is still a very good chance that Ultron could win. I'll go 60-40, because Ultron could still just easily overpower Karn and physically just destroy him. And if Karn can't, recoup the loss, say, he took after he restarts, it's not going to matter. Ultron could still easily physically overpower Karn if Karn can't just start stripping the adamantium vibranium body off of Ultron. So I'll go 60-40, but I do think Karn takes the win in this one. What do you think, though? Do you think Karn wins? Do you think Ultron wins? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, though. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review at some point, but thanks for watching. See you next time.